always a source of inspiration. And so as I was preparing for tonight, I was really thinking of what kid experiences I could relate. So I thought I'd start off tonight with a story that happened last week at school among some 5th grade boys as we start to think about the power of forgiveness. So picture this, it's lunchtime, and a group of 5th grade boys are just being goofy, as 5th grade boys tend to do. I think they were singing a song in weird voices, and they were really annoying some of the other friends at their table. So it was really bothering this one student who we will call Mark. And so Mark says, "Hey guys, knock it off." And they ignored him, of course. And they actually began to sing louder, I think, at that point. So, Mark takes the very natural next step, which is to proceed to put a spoonful of corn in his mouth and spit it at the boys that are singing super loud. Because why wouldn't that be the right way to handle it, right? So obviously Mark and I had a very long conversation, and he did at some point apologize to the boys for spitting on them. He said those magic words, "I'm sorry," and the boy said, "It's okay." And that's what happens, right? We say, "I'm sorry," and then it's okay. But is it really okay? And is this really forgiveness? If only it were that simple. We as adults know that forgiveness and loving thy neighbor is very complex, and it goes way beyond just saying "I'm sorry" or turning the other cheek because you want to avoid conflict. And we must also remember that forgiveness doesn't mean that we accept the wrongdoing. In many ways, forgiveness is just as much about ourselves as it is for the person in need, if not more. In Matthew 18, Jesus teaches about the importance of community and forgiveness, and with that, abundant grace. As people of God, we strive for harmony and peace among ourselves and one another. We cannot obtain either without first forgiving what needs to be forgiven. Dr. Terence Lester is one of the contributors to the Wandering Hearts series, and he further emphasizes the importance of relationships and community. Every day we encounter others in various ways, and we're called in our faith to forge relationships to do the work of God. So what does forgiveness look like in the context of relationships and community? I'm going to tell you a story about Bob. Bob is a made-up name, but the story is very real. Bob was someone I worked with a long time ago in a school setting, and Bob had a lot of personal struggles, many of which we can relate to on some level. However, no matter how hard Bob tried, Bob's personal struggles often became too much, and it impacted work performance. Bob sometimes missed work without notice. Bob often wasn't prepared, and his team had to pick up the slack. Bob even had a temper sometimes, so it was hard to know which Bob you get. As one of the supervisors, I had to have many difficult conversations with Bob. And things would improve for a period of time, but it was an endless roller coaster of ups and downs. So as you're well aware, in a school community, and really any successful community, church community, whatever community, it's one that's built on strong relationships and teamwork. Bob's difficulty in maintaining simple professional responsibilities on a consistent basis began to have a significant impact on our school community. And it was becoming clear that students were also impacted. Staff were angry and frustrated, yet at the same time they were very worried about Bob. I also felt very angry and frustrated and worried. One day, an incident occurred in which it was blatantly clear that Bob was far from okay. So several of us tried to address our concerns, and Bob denied everything. Bob insisted that none of what we were saying made sense, and we were very mistaken. Bob insisted everything was under control, and then Bob accused all of us of not being supportive, and it was our fault that Bob was so anxious all the time and couldn't do the job. Obviously, the conversation didn't go well, and it left all of us feeling even more angry and frustrated and upset. At this point, more than just the teammates working with Bob were coming to me with concerns. Anger, fear, disappointment, worry, frustration, sadness, bitterness. All of these emotions were pervasive throughout our school building and throughout the school community. But no matter how angry or frustrated or disappointed people were, above all, they really just wanted Bob to be okay. They cared about Bob the person, but they could no longer get past Bob's negative impact on the community that we all loved. So what does this help us understand about forgiveness? Bob is a liar. Bob is irresponsible. Bob isn't trustworthy. Bob is not perfect. But Bob is also a child of God. And God loves imperfect people. As Christians, we're called to do the work of God and forgive those who are in need of forgiveness. In Dr. Lester's commentary, he said it's about letting go of rigid limits and embracing the limitless possibilities of forgiveness and repair. It would have been easy enough to just let Bob continue to spiral and likely end up without a job or worse. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. Often the right thing to do isn't the easy thing. Forgiveness and grace take work. And in the case of Bob, the work involved repairing relationships, setting expectations and boundaries, and most importantly, letting go of the anger and hurt. The work didn't happen overnight, and the work is very far from over. It's a constant work in progress, but it's God's work to take care of one another and our community. Dr. Lester reminds us that, and I quote, Peter's encounter with Jesus serves as a poignant reminder of the profound lessons embedded in forgiveness. Forgiveness is a boundless wellspring of grace. Repair is vital, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. So yes, forgiveness is more than just saying I'm sorry or accepting one's apology. It is the process of healing, of letting go of the negative energy to focus on the good. The healing of forgiveness allowed the entire school community to be able to move forward together. Psalm 130 reads, "For with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him is plentiful redemption." Who is Bob in our own lives? How do we let go of the anger and hurt to repair relationships and find peace? Maybe you are Bob, and the relationship that you need to repair is with yourself. For it is when we truly open our hearts and minds to the possibility of forgiveness and healing and allow God's love to work within us that we're able to come together as a community to serve in God's name.